daily game design time. It's early Sunday morning, and I'm telling you, having this impulse to get up and have breakfast and design has been really, I think, really good for me. Um, it it was an odd thing to be kind of losing energy around 9:45, 10 last night. I was at the Vine. I had just played a recently released trading card game, Gundam. I really, it's so. This goes way beyond games, but it's so rewarding and uh, rewarding is a bit of a strong word there, but it's gratifying to get to know the landscape of a genre or of a hobby. Maybe let's even generalize it a little further than I was, but or to get to know even like a field of research or anything like that. To get to know the language, many of the common ideas, so that uh, like anything that you're offered that's quote unquote new from that genre, it feels familiar or you have a lot of connection points that you can make to it. So I played this game Gundam, and uh, every trading card game, at least that I know of, has learned a lot from Magic. And so because I've been playing Magic around once a week, maybe twice a week, I've gotten to know some of the general ideas, the concepts, um, the strategies, that kind of thing. And so when it comes to learning a new TCG, uh, if with Magic as the foundation, and then all these games that are built on top of it, I think I've played. Let's see, it'd be Magic. I've tried a little bit of Star Wars Unlimited. I have some Lorcana. Anyways, I was learning Gundam last night. I could, you develop the idea to notice DNA or overlap and similarities, and that's exactly what was going on with Gundam. They did a couple things that I don't know, the things that felt like innovations, things that felt different from Magic and Lorcana, but also felt similar. So, for example, one thing I like that it did is you get a resource added to your resource pool every turn. So, whereas in Magic, you just might not be drawing lands. You might not be drawing cards that give you mana. So, you can be in big trouble if you're not keeping up with the resources that the rest of the table is getting, or that your deck needs. So, anyway, here with Gundam, you add a resource every turn, so that you're leveling up and you're playing stronger and stronger cards. I like that. I like that stability. I like that predictability. Even though in Magic it creates more drama, if you're if your opponent misses a land drop and you're just about to edge them out because you're able to get some guy on the table that is going to make everything work for you. That's more dramatic. Um, I still appreciate the stability of the game. Another thing, and that's actually similar to Lorcana in a way, except Lorcana gives you the choice. I think Star Wars Unlimited does too. They make you turn cards that you might want into mana. So there's a painful choice there, which actually makes them potentially more interesting too. So anyway, I thought that was kind of just a nice foundational detail. And then there was the concept of having a pilot for your Gundam. Or I don't see, the thing is, I don't know anything about Gundam lore. I don't know anything about whatever the anime is, or so, I don't even know how to talk about what I don't know about with whatever Gundam is. But it's clear that pilots are an important feature of the game. Actually, you know what? I'm going to bring this up. Gundam TCG. Gundam card game official website. So again, I know nothing about Gundam, but I was able to play because I'm familiar with concepts in trading card games. So I also thought the oh, there it is. That's exactly what I was going to point out. So there's this ability. There are types of cards where you have a unit and then you have a pilot for that unit, and so apparently this is obviously thematic. I don't know anything about Gundam, so I didn't know this, but every Gundam has a pilot, and so what happens is if you play your unit, and then you also have the pilot that matches that unit, it gives it a power up. It gives it essentially haste. It allows you to attack that turn or whatever. Anyway, I thought that was a neat idea. I like how the player's health works. Anyway, there's a bunch of cool ideas. The point is, it feels good. It's satisfying to become aware of a landscape of ideas, so that when you're introduced to something new, something that's a new offering on the market, the learning curve is not very steep. And this is an important thing that I did not understand with modern hobby games, and that's something maybe if you haven't played many games either. I really had not played many modern games when I first started, like 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago. I played Catan. I played Splendor. There were a few games that I played. And Sushi Go, and I even owned a few of these. What I did not understand is that so many games overlap in their ideas. There are genres of games. Had no idea. What changed my understanding was when I played Seven Wonders. Seven Wonders is a well-liked game that is kind of a civilization game, civilization building game. But the main problem in the game, the main mechanic, the main puzzle you're dealing with, is that each round, I think there are 3 rounds, you start with a hand of cards, you pick a card, you keep it, and then you pass the rest of the rest of the cards in your hand, you pass them to your neighbor, left or right, depending on the round. And once you gather a bunch of cards, and you reveal them, you start organizing them, and you get more resources, or you get powerful abilities or whatever. But that the main mechanic of card drafting, closed drafting, where you've got a hand, you keep a card, you send your hand away, that is a perfect overlap with what's going on in Sushi Go. Well, that was a revelation to me, that there are categories, there are genres of games, and it's totally cool to borrow one game, to borrow the ideas of another game and try to refine them, try to smash them together with some other group of ideas. And so when that clicked for me, when I finally understood that learning one game potentially unlocks a whole group of games, that really that blew my mind. I didn't know that that's how things have evolved, have developed game to game over time. And you know what the thing is? I'm sure this happens in every other hobby, in every other type of situation, or any creative hobby, or probably less of an activity, I would think. Are there genres of climbing? Maybe there are probably, there are different categories of like bouldering problems, so different styles that there might be that have developed because we have gyms, and so you can create bouldering problems. So I guess there would be even in an active hobby like that, there would be these genres essentially. Once your body gets familiar with one genre of bouldering problem, other problems within that genre are probably more grokkable, more understandable earlier for you. So okay, so even some more, even a physical activity might offer some experience like this. Anyway, so I really enjoyed that. I didn't spend a lot of time playing games last night. I greeted some people, made some announcements, and then played Gundam. That's the rough part with getting to a game night late, is that people get locked into these like really long games, and then I might be able to look over their shoulders a little bit and say hi, but that's it. Also saw a friend. Actually, I want to message her right now. I saw a friend that I haven't seen in the wild in a long time, and I acknowledged her. We kind of acknowledged each other across the room, and then and I don't know. She finished. She finished the game and then had to take off. I'm just gonna message her before I forget. The other thing I want to do before I forget is take my turn in Arnak, Lost Ruins of Arnak. We're playing a game. Interesting. Yeah, give me just 1 second. Okay. The other thing I wanted to do was take my turn in Lost Ruins of Arnak. I'll show you this. I'm showing you this partly because BGA has been such a powerful set of tools. I think of it as a kind of because it has tons of games. They're releasing new games all the time. This is kind of one of my main research avenues. So this is what I did when I was working on my Pathfinder club game Roll and Write. I came to Board Game Arena and looked up every Roll and Write, learned how to play them, just to see if there were any ideas that would be worth borrowing. So here's Lost Ruins of Arnak. The main game board is here on the right. My board, my like individual player board, and the cards in my hand are over here on the left. And so what I'm doing now is we have a 3-player game. I'm deciding. Oh, interesting. I'm deciding a couple things right now. So I have really been appreciating Lost Ruins of Arnak recently. So it's a really cool blend of worker placement. I'm just about to take a worker placement right now. So I'm going to go down here, get some gold. Whenever you place a worker, you have to play a card that lets you travel to that location. In the case of these campsites, you can play a card that has a boot on it. A boot is the most basic type of travel, just walking around your camp. If you want to travel further into this jungle, then you need a car or a boat. Another little detail is that there are planes in the game. You can see on the top left of this card, it shows a plane. A plane works as any type of travel. The car or the boat also works as a boot, but the boot doesn't work as any of those. So there's like a strong, stronger to weaker order there. So anyway, I thought that's cool. You can discard any card from your hand to be able to do the most basic of actions here. Take the most basic of worker placement spots. Then there's actually the reason I got these coins. You can see I placed in a spot that gives me coins, 2 gold coins. I'm going to buy one of these cards. And what I'm thinking is I want to try this card, which allows me to discard a card, to draw a card, and to exile a card or burn a card from my deck. A card leaves my deck permanently. So I want to try this because I've never focused in this game. I've never focused on having a small deck. So this is the deck building aspect. You can add cards that make your deck more powerful. You can also eliminate cards uh, that are weaker versions of the cards to make your deck more powerful. I also want to focus on monsters this game, or they're called guardians. But anyway, monsters works. So whenever you travel into the jungle and you discover a new site, a new dig site, I think it's called, then you pay this cost, you drop a worker out here into the jungle, and then a few things happen. You gain this token, which gives you a really powerful one-time use ability. Or it's flexibility, which is amazing. When you need a resource at a certain moment in time, you can often use one of the idols you would claim from discovering a new dig site. You can use it to get, and this is what I'm hovering over here with my mouse. You can choose any one of these 5 things. So you would, anyway, I don't want to get in the weeds here with this game. Anyway, then you discover the new site. The site is essentially something like the campsites down here that give you some benefit, some resources or an action you can take that's helpful. Then a monster or a guardian sits on top of this new site, and you have to spend some resources or do some... It's a combination of doing some action and spending resources to defeat the monster, the guardian. Well, I kind of want to try to focus on guardians this time. So that's going to mean a lot of travel. And it's also going to mean some ability to, well, yeah, just get resources faster. Anyway, if you don't defeat a guardian by the end of your turn, and that can be a problem, I mean, you can reveal a guardian kind of late in the round so you don't have enough chances to get the resources you need to beat it, or it just needs a lot of resources that you don't have. If you can't defeat it by the end of the round, you gain a fear card. Fear cards are just, they get in the way in your deck, they gum up your deck, they just take one, they take a spot. Like if you're drawing, you need to draw 5 cards at the start of your turn. A fear might be one of them. They do let you travel, which is cool, but they give you they're -1 point, and they also get in the way of drawing the cards you actually want. So, anyway, I want to focus on guardians this time. So I want to have the ability to get rid of the fear cards that I might gather, but also I like the idea of having a leaner deck, of discarding a bunch of my basic cards. So I already bought a card that that's going to give me extra compasses. I need compasses to travel further. So that's a good start to traveling and working on monsters. And then I want to get, I think this card, it'd be amazing to get both of these. This actually this might even be a better choice to excuse me, draw a card and then place, like I can basically place one of my guys out here with a discount of a car icon. So that's usually a card like this. Anyway, so I took my turn. That's it. I'm just going to wait for my friends to take their turns, but thanks for joining me on that. Okay, now I want to get to yeah, now I want to get to wow, is Facebook really that far back? That's crazy. I think there's just some issue going on there. The stream looks good. I don't know what's going on there. Okay. I'm really impressed with Twitch. They've really prioritized whatever it is, like low, like there's very little lag. There's very little. There's what do you call it? I don't even know. See, I'm not like a streamer. There's very little time between when I'm doing a thing and it shows up in the stream. YouTube is just behind it, doing pretty well, and Facebook is maybe they want to prioritize like having a smooth stream so that if there are interruptions during the stream, that Facebook can sort of account for that when there's a reconnection. I don't know. Okay, so I want to get to Sugar Shack, and I think I'm pretty much ready to do that. It looks like, apart from yesterday and kind of a little touch-ups here and there over the last month, it has been a month since I've really spent time on it. We do have our last in-person game design meetup today, so I'm really excited that I have this prototype ready. I packed it for my weekend trip up to North Shore, but didn't have a chance to play it with everybody. This is something. Oh, this is a cool little development. So, my mentor, my Unpub mentor, highlighted that game designers, they often have this tag or this badge above their name to connect their designer profile to their personal profile on Board Game Geek. And if you're not familiar with Board Game Geek, it's like the most important website in most important like database for gaming. Oh shoot, I do want to show you a couple highlights from the weekend. Will I be able to? I'll be able to show you on my phone, so I'll try to get this together. The other thing, I just got a text from my friend who I'm working on the Ravens game with, and I have not touched that in a while, so maybe my next stream I'll spend some time on Ravens. I was going to try to show you a photo of this really special moment. So I was snorkeling around up on, wherever the beach park was we were camping at, and let me see if this looks, if I can get it to look decent. I'm not sure. So I'm just, cruising around. I was thinking I should look for shells. And then within like a minute of looking around for shells, I found this huge kauri? I don't know. Kenneth said some name, and it sounded kind of like Corey to me. But it's like kauri maybe. And when I first came out of the water, somebody came up and said, "Oh, you know that's poisonous." And no, I didn't know. But then I think it turns out that it's not poisonous. And it was kind of sad to release it or kind of get uncomfortable with it when that seems like that was unnecessary. Anyway, really special. I've never seen anything like that. I've never picked anything up from the ocean floor like that. And it still had the animal inside. And I had picked it up when I was, I don't know, maybe like 50 yards out into the water. And so picked it up, flipped it over, saw that it had the animal in there. And then I still wanted to bring it back to shore to show everybody. So I was swimming back. I set it on my hand, just kind of held it there. And then it did start to like kind of come out like and grab on. But what I did not expect, I'd never seen it before, is that it actually sent it some like a flap or it almost looked like a film, but it was like part of its lower body. It actually sent it up and around its shell. It didn't fully envelop itself, but it sent it up and around, and it had these little tubular legs or arms that were just kind of hanging out there. So I don't know what it's doing. I don't know what that's for. Maybe it's just a way to catch, stuff floating by. But that was really, really cool to see that skin come out and kind of creep up and around the shell. It was just awesome. And I felt it kind of grab on as I was swimming back. It wasn't like it didn't like cement itself to my hand or anything like that. But anyway, it was just really, really cool to see this thing alive. Because I've seen this style of shell, typically very small. I've seen this type of shell, but never something so big and never alive. So that was a really special thing. Anyway, had a great time hanging out with people up there. And yeah, I'd like to get out into the ocean more. I really don't. I should spend more time out there. But take advantage of what I have while I can. But it's just going to take some intentionality with that. Okay, so where I was going is that, or what I was talking about was that Deacon mentioned this game designer badge, and so he said, I could get some things in place. He knew somebody who might be able to help me get it. But then what I also realized that some of the designer profiles just have their individual profile name somewhere like linked, somewhere showing on their designer profile. So so there's a way to like edit designer profiles, and you just submit some changes, and then an admin, somebody like approves it. So all I did was link my account, my person. I messaged whoever it is, the admin, to add my personal account to my designer account, and then suddenly I have this game designer badge, which I think is very, very cool. I was excited about that. So I can just click on that, and it takes me to this where we have these two games linked. So anyway, that was a fun little detail. Okay, so it is time to get to Sugar Shack. About 30 minutes left. And the timing here is also perfect because I am going over to my old apartment to do some deep cleaning. Excuse me. I don't know if they're renovating it or not, but at least it'll be ready for whoever, I think the interns that move in. Okay, so where I left off Friday morning, was in thinking about how I can make some changes to these cards to adapt to this new idea of action tokens rather than moving the vehicle for an action on your turn. So, yeah. So I have about 30 minutes to do this, and like I said, the timing's perfect, so I'll be able to cruise over to the apartment after that. Okay, so I think a helpful change is to now think of this space as more flexible, right? So before, I think it was a worker placement spot, so it would hold one of your meeples or tokens. But now it's it's just an area. It's more like it's just space where you can pile your little action tokens. So that's good. I also have the barrel that's going to be an upgrade for the Sugar Shack itself. The Sugar Shack is not here, it's in the landscape. Actually, let me open that too. Oh, I think this is actually what I was saying. I had the prototype printed out. We didn't play it over the weekend, but I'm excited to play it today. I do hope to get a playtest in this afternoon. Okay. So with this done, these are the only vertical cards that need editing. This is going to be unclear. Because it's not like the space only holds 3 action tokens. It's just that it starts with 3 action tokens. Well, at the start of your turn, you would have 3 action tokens. Oh, maybe the way to do it is to do it like this. Anyway, I know what it means. That's what matters right now. Oh, this was a cool detail from the trip, actually the camping trip. I just remembered. So a family came out. Oh, this is oh shoot. I will derail myself again briefly. So a family showed up. They, a married couple, maybe similar age to me, with 2 daughters, who are probably, I don't know, 10 and 12 or something like that. And so we went down to the beach as a group, and I started getting to know the parents a little bit, like kind of one after the other. Well, I talked to the wife for a little bit. My friend Kenna said, "Oh, this family, they're also super into games," and so the first game that the wife mentioned was Twilight Imperium. She and her husband played Twilight Imperium, and then I thought, wow, okay, yeah, I guess you have to be into games. So I asked a few follow up questions. Then she took off and like had to go get something for her daughter. So then I ended up getting into the ocean, um, and was chatting with the husband for a while. And so I was asking about their collection, and they moved back like 6 years ago or something. And anyway, I think they were serious about Gloomhaven for a little while. And then I learned that his wife worked for Fantasy Flight Games, and Fantasy Flight is a really big deal. Fantasy Flight Games. So she was doing some kind of illustration, some sort of layout. I don't know if it was card layout or rulebook layout or like, board, like the actual design of the boards or whatever. Anyway, they own some really, really important properties, including they have this one, Twilight Imperium, but they have done work with Marvel. That's right up at the top here, and Star Wars. So they're a pretty big deal. They also print this famous game. It's an older game, but anyway, and Arkham is huge. So Game of Thrones obviously is a big deal. Lord of the Rings, like they're just this huge, well-established company. I didn't get to talk to her about it, and we hung out for a while. This was the second part of mentioning this. While we're just kind of hanging out. I was in the water, and I saw the 2 girls start to pick up these. I don't know what it is. It's kind of a seed pod, maybe, of some kind of seaweed. It's floating around. It looks like a long, skinny, almost like a quill, maybe. They're these little bullet things you can kind of throw in the water, and they work like darts. And they're really cool. Anyway, so the girls were starting to pick these up and pile them and stick them in the sand, and so I thought, I can help with that. There was a bunch floating out where I was, and just kind of flotsam like leaves and all this stuff right at the edge of the ocean, but kind of far, just before the waves were like pushing stuff up on the shore. So the girls weren't coming in so much into the water, so I was tossing these back. And what I realized is I really like things to do. I like little projects, and what's funny is Kenna's family is great at like storytelling and joking around with each other, and I can join a little bit of that, but I'm not great at like filling that airtime with talk. With just like connecting through talking. It's not a strength of mine. What I really like doing is some kind of activity. We're playing a game where we played Can Jam yesterday, or were working on some random like. It turned out that they were wanting to build a spaceship out of these little seaweed seed pods or something. I thought that was funny, but it was also a nice time of some self awareness. Just recognize that I really like spending time with Ken and his family. I have a great time hanging out with them. To me, they're all really funny, really kind, really thoughtful people. And it's just they have a different style of communicating that maybe I didn't grow up with or I didn't practice very much. So I can't participate super well. I still can't, I can jump in occasionally with some, whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is, I really like spending time with them, but I also wanted to acknowledge that sometimes, my style doesn't necessarily, or what I'm good at, what I think about, what I like to spend my time on, doesn't necessarily align. I really like, and it turned out that Uncle Will also likes having some projects, likes doing things. That's Ken's uncle slash stepdad. He also likes kind of just doing stuff, like having something to work on. And anyway, we're kind of in that together. Okay, but Sugar Shack. Oh, I should also say I hope I get to connect with that family again. Just kind of learn more about their background and Fantasy Flight, like just what it's like to work for a huge company like that. Okay, so this is such a departure from the action points are such a departure from like moving into town, like taking steps into town that I really need to consider really fundamental knock-on effects. One that I wanted to try really early was one that I wanted to try was here's a way to get money. Oh, I think it's this. Add Okay, so when I come here, I'm spending action tokens. Spending action tokens, add an action token to your pool next turn. What's cool here is, and I think I heard the Garfield Games guys talk about this in their podcast, but sometimes it's important to get, like they design games with a bunch of resources. Often there's a bunch of different resources you're managing. And there was some discussion about resources that sort of, or resource categories that, what was it? I can't even remember the game. But somehow the idea is connected to having, like, defining a relationship between them, almost like a conversion rate in a way, but making them really important in different ways for different reasons. So here, what you have is, trading an action token now for an action token later for like a more powerful turn. So that's cool. And then you also have money. Money. It turns out is the source of victory points, or is victory points themselves. Money is victory points. So so you're either gaining resources. Let's say in this case, and there's another kind of a resource that is harder to see right here. But okay, going to this building in town, the town park, is actually now a way to instantly get money. Money is victory points, but it also is a resource you spend for upgrades. So maybe you just need, an extra dollar or two. Here you can get it. So when you come to the town park, you choose any of these two effects. Choose any two of these three effects, and you could focus on getting more money. But this one, this is a kind of hidden resource I was talking about. So discarding a cube or whatever it ends up to be. Maybe I missed them already. Discarding a cube. Okay, so a discarded cube comes to the grant office, and the grants are upgrades. So in the town park, they're upgrades that cost cubes, that cost discarded cubes. So here at the town park, you're deciding whether to get this little instant boost of money, whether you're getting money and also discarding a cube, or you're taking an action token that makes your next turn more powerful. I can't really think of a case where... What's cool is there are trade-offs here. So you might want to discard a cube here for money, but you also might want to discard it for a better chance of a higher payout in another building. So that's the issue. That's the trade-off. You might want cubes to gather for an upgrade, but you might want to save that cube for more money somewhere else. Might find that this building is overpowered. Anyway, so that's already, I think that's the first step of progress in town, in these town buildings, because here we have our first card that talks about action tokens. What do I want to do here? So what I can say, or what I can do, is drop this down now. Don't need so much space. Can I do that for both? What I wanted to do was... I can do this on like a playwright or something. So Sugar Shack actions, they take how many tokens? This is a huge a huge fork in the road, basically, because yeah, we're doing good, going strong. Nice. These streams are behaving well today. Okay, there is a fork in the road here. Maybe I should show a layout of the town. To do that properly... Yeah, no, let's not do that. To do that properly, I would need to open up... maybe there's an old... What is going on? I think I'm definitely going to lose YouTube. Wow.